세러데이 쇼다운. 젠지 스포츠 대 디플러스 기아.
And just join Bull in that bottom lane. Loud have been doing very well, and maybe that's going to be the opportunity for him. However, he is going to play in the LCK here today, and we are into the draft for game number 1. Having a look now at what our bans are going to be, the Varus, the Karma, the Orianna, the Rumble, these sort of things are all going to be removed, and then there's a little bit of flexibility after that. It's kind of how this this particular patch is shaped up.
Teddy,
this is cool, yeah.
You take that Ezreal away. Sure, Woodid has got that Arthur fist at the ready right now, seeing that ban. But Teddy has been one of our better Ezreals, believe it or not, even though Hanj and Brion are fighting to defend their 9th place spot here. I do think that Teddy deserves the respect, and they just do not want to deal with it. And also might be angling for a first pick Jarvan as well.
Or a first pick Rumble, if it is left up and available. Could take away like a Pantheon, something like that. Instead, they have first pick. They're still going to ban the Rumble due to not wanting to blind pick that one into Hanj and Brion.
Pyosik gets to play either Pantheon or Jarvan, and so that feels really good for a first pick here in game 1 of a series like this. So tough call here for Hanjin, whether they'll ban the Jarvan or the Pantheon. The Ezreal being gone makes it feel like the Supers are expecting a Pantheon ban. They're looking to get the Jarvan. Great ban into Teddy. So I like the start here for DNS. Time's ticking away. They'll ban Lee Sin, so they're looking for a trade here of Jarvan and Pantheon.
It's kind of crazy that they ban Lee Sin with Panth and Jarvan available. It does feel a little bit like a throwaway. You can understand that, though, because if they get the Jarvan, then you get the trade. Exactly right. And so casting, let's see what he's going to be taking away here, whether it is going to be Pantheon picked up right now. Could be a Xin Zhao. You could go for like a Xin Zhao Lulu type angle here.
Or just slam the Lucian. I was like, they could play Ashe Seraphine. That was also on the cards.
Lucian, Milio
could have been the thing, but now they're just going to put this one down. The problem is that there is a few different picks you can play into this. This is super early in the draft, so for example, Ashe Seraphine can kind of go toe-to-toe with this. Is even an argument for just playing the straight-up Yunara Lulu lane into this as well, which we've seen so many times.
We did see it struggle, though, in this exact matchup yesterday. Ultimately, it didn't actually change the outcome of the game, but there is an opportunity for Teddy to show Slayer how it's done. After, of course, he wasn't able to quite get it done towards the end of that series prior. But still,
this should be, I think, a Pantheon pick here. It's a lot of burst damage with the Lucian, easy to dive. You can go for Xin, but I personally would have rather seen the Pantheon because I think there's a lot more power for side lanes as well that you could play through, but
I kind of like Xin Milio. It feels like you can really utilize the enchantiness with the Xin Zhao, and so that kind of makes sense to me, and we do often see the Demacian matchup in the jungle between these two, so that might be the reason why. I feel like Pantheon's like weirdly falling out of vogue, even though not a whole lot has changed.
Yeah, I do think we're seeing a little bit less of him just because he also can get burst down if he doesn't have his shield available. As Akali, just kind of hinting at what Roamer's got in mind here, as we'll see a Jace ban. So perhaps something like a Gnar on the cards here for the Supers, looking for a little bit more of a scaling draft here, a little bit more stability.
I think they're looking for a pigeon. That's what I
think that you're probably right about that for Hanjin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Other side.
Yeah, I think that like you don't necessarily need to go for a second ban here for the mid lane. They'll actually just ban the Azir themselves, so that's a little bit puzzling.
Yeah, I would say that that's strange. Especially when I believe Roamer actually played the Akali already and looked pretty good on it.
There's two different ways for Roamer to approach this situation. One is to just look for a scaling pick, so you have great late game damage profiles as the Lucian, you know, can explode through the mid game and just be so big in the late game that it doesn't matter. But sometimes if he just does okay, you want to have some consistent damage. Or you could go for an all-in aggressive pick to empower it. Annie? Not necessarily what I meant, but it certainly works with the theme, right? You have burst damage in spades here, especially if we see Titanic built for Gideon. You just find target, kill target so fast.
And also, the Aurora has been what's been picked into the Annie over and over again, but we've seen even as recently as yesterday, the Annie actually win that matchup. Now, it looks like they have a free Gnar towards the top side of the map into this Renekton. Of course, Dudu pretty formidable on this champion. but I don't see why you wouldn't just get the counter matchup and feel very good about it. And that looks to be exactly what casting wants to do.
I don't understand the Rise ban. If they were planning on picking the Renekton, maybe they wanted the Annie, and so they were like, all right, we've got the Aurora counter pick prepared for that. But like you said, it hasn't been as dominant. It depends on who's piloting it, because our best mid laners have taken
I think it's the same
Annie
for
to cleaners.
These both of these matchups in top and in mid lane, we've seen both sides win, right? I think if the Renekton's played really well, we know Dudu has it in him.
And BDD had
win.
also the great Annie game into Zeka, even though they lost that series and lost that game. You know, it is about those early levels. It is about those early trades, about Annie's auto attack range. The Gnar here into Renekton has been a really tough one. We've seen Renekton still do quite well on the early levels, but eventually the Gnar becomes able to space him and do a lot of damage and obviously become a larger side lane threat. I like both drafts, to be honest, about evenly. I think that the win cons here are very different for these two drafts, and that's often where we land. When the Lucian is picked this early, the other team thinks, well, we'll just outlast him. And that's the game plan here for them. But they also have that bursty Aurora, they have the bursty Renekton, and they can set up this Yunara to become a bigger threat early on in the game. One thing that it feels like when you get these two clashing styles, it almost always is true, especially at this level. We're at 9th and 10th place here. That's what we're fighting for, is that the game usually ends up being one-sided. One team snowballs early, the Lucian becomes ahead and takes over the game, or doesn't get ahead, and the other side just rolls with it.
Yeah, I do think that Teddy has got a lot of power in this game to make things happen, and he has been the one guy that can on Hanj and Brion. Let's see how it goes. We get onto the Rift. All right, Jijijik Lolpark is absolutely popping off today. And this is 9th versus 10th, right? And it's just so fantastic to see pretty much like a bum on every seat.
It's wild. I mean, I came in just moments before, obviously. You and I came in like 5 minutes before the opening starts and all that. And
yep,
the Brion side, which we are on, is full, and also like I feel like the ratio of people wearing jerseys is so much higher than you would expect, especially coming from me, like who's been in esports in Korea for a really long time. There was a really long period of time where getting jerseys for your favorite team was like almost impossible. You just could not do it. They weren't always for sale. It was kind of an exclusive thing where you have to be staffed to have one.
Yeah.
No one sold them. It was difficult to actually get clothing sponsors to work with companies to make jerseys for fans. And now we live in a world in 2025 where it's all green over here. There's people wearing Reddit jerseys, you know, there's all sorts of bro history here scattered through the crowd, which is just awesome to see. And some of them from overseas fans as well. We got Westerners in the crowd sporting their bro gear as well. And it's just, I don't know, just a reminder that esports has come so far and League of Legends has come so far here.
And just our teams that aren't called T1, right?
Yes.
Like, this is the thing, like, having fans of more than just a couple of our top teams is just the biggest sign of a bit of extra health in your league, and that feels fantastic. What also feels fantastic is being Annie and actually winning health trades in the early game against this Aurora, which is working out pretty well. You can see here that Pyosik has eradicated the enemy jungle as Gideon spots the fact that his red buff is just gone. And Pyosik should actually be able to achieve the 3 buff here. Just went from blue to the enemy jungle and is now able to go back through his camps once again.
I'll see what Gideon decides to do. I think he's just going to be coming for a challenge because they have Prio so hard in mid. I don't think he's just going to give this for free.
This is kind of crazy because now with the fact that Closer was getting pushed in meant that Gideon could take the shortcut to get on over here. Pyosik, I believe, was spotted doing his Raptor camp, and we'll actually be heading towards the bottom side now. So it just goes Raptors, Wolves, Gromp to try and gank bottom lane, but that means that it's just a weird path that he's taken instead of actually taking away Gideon's power.
Duckdom and Quantum don't have ward. They actually both just went to check, or I think it was Quantum specifically, but Duckdom went with them to check to make sure Gideon wasn't level 3 ganking them for a dive because this wave is crashing in the bottom side. So I love to see little things like that. Even though they weren't being ganked, they did their due diligence to make sure that wasn't the case, and that gives a ton of information to Pyosik. He's like, okay, well, I know where this guy is now. He's on the top side of the map. As Casting is getting an amazing trade here.
Yeah, these Boomerangs and Hyperprocs working out pretty well for the Mini-Gnar, but Dudu looks like he's just going to be going back home. And Pyosik does take himself a crab here towards the bottom side of the map. We'll just look for a bit of vision.
potentially Pyosik coming over here to try to set up a play with the timing of this back for Namgung. It could have worked out, but will not actually eventuate.
I like the Albert ward in there, the one that can last an incredibly long time if you get it down early.
Yeah.
We'll provide a fair bit of information about where Gideon is going, if he is going to be, blast coding over towards his red buff, things like that. It's not all the time that you do check that brush.
So it ended up being Pyosik with an aggressive start. Gideon reads it well with the mid-prio, is able to strike back, and we end up with a dead even jungle state as a bit of an all-in potentially here.
Yeah, Namgung is throwing out some warm hugs, but does also need to put in the heal, as barrier heal used on both sides. Dr. though standing his ground and is able to do all right here.
If
as
the
Teddy
fire
will catch this wave.
hits, I think they could have done more of their quantum. You got to be careful, man. That's a big chunk.
That is a lot of damage, and denying the follow-up there as well from Dr. with Namgung's fire kick like you were talking about.
Yeah, Quantum really wants to defend this control ward. I think he will be able to do so. Pyosik is nearby. He had that control vision, so he knows he has a little window here, actually, to potentially set something up. But I think Teddy and Namgung might just be a little bit too healthy. This wave is too thin.
And it's Emilio. I feel like it's so hard to, even though he doesn't have the heal, I feel like it's still so difficult to gank Emilio lanes.
He just is going to kick you, and that's going to make you die. It's going to be a trade unless he misses the kick a lot of the time.
Oh, Pyosik, I think, spots the fact that
he's going to wait for a bigger wave.
Okay, so Gideon's immediately coming back. So there is no vision actually in the lane. I thought Pyosik could actually put something down, but this counter gank timing could actually work out. Great flash to avoid the flag and drag. Namgung is also going to be able to be just fine. Still, they get the flash out of Teddy. That is going to be very valuable. And the end supers are getting pretty low.
The supers are very smartly leaving immediately and not trying to crash another wave.
Oh.
Quantum leaving immediately, surely, yes. He is going to be fine, I think.
Scry's Bloom, I think, spotted out Gideon there as well, which is why Dr. and Quantum are able to get themselves out of there. But this buys a lot of time and a lot of space for the bros.
Yeah, so Pyosik ends up, getting the flash out of Teddy, but loses his health. They cannot continue to fight, and that's a plate that goes over to Teddy in return with the Crystalline Overgrowth getting procced. And he gets to pick up a significant gold advantage here off of that plate and the CS that they were generating. Both junglers playing that really well, but definitely Bro getting the advantage as Dudu.
Hop value here from casting. I remember when they first buffed that, and I was like, well, why are they buffing the damage on Hop? You don't use it aggressively, but when you hit it, my God. Dudu is forced to use his dominance here on this top side of the map. And that is going to give casting even more power in this matchup, despite the fact that he's down on farm, which is kind of crazy. Both of them with their culls, as we've got R buttons being pressed by both of these mid laners. Roma looking a little worse for wear, but Closer also taking a bit of damage here and does have to now deal with a 2v1 with Tibbers getting involved.
Gideon's not going to do Dragon. He's going to go for a dive here. Has level 6.
Oh dear, Dr. doesn't have level 6 himself. And Quantum's a very long way away from it. Still level 4 on this Lulu. And Gideon just looking to make his way in. That's Wind Becomes Lightning. And that is Yunara Becomes Dead. Roma is doing exactly what his name implies as he'll walk towards this bottom lane and just obliterate the Lulu. Gideon having to flash here, but they'll trade a flash on a Xin Zhao for a double kill in the bottom lane.
Absolutely massive value here for Hanjin in this early game through this Lucian lane. Teddy is 1,000 gold ahead now. Dotdom gets polymorphed here, which I think makes him feel kind of safe. Like, oh, they used polymorph a little bit early. Maybe actually I have some time. Maybe Gideon's not here yet. No, he was. He's on you. You're dead. And he's actually able to drop the turret aggro here. Namgung picks it up, but that allows them to re-dive so incredibly easily. Teddy picks up the kill. Gideon almost gets out without having to flash. If he actually doesn't have to flash there, it's even better. But like you said, 100% worth.
Yep. And Gideon also able to secure his Raptors at the same time. Gideon Grubs hasn't actually been a thing just yet. Got a few seconds on that one as we are still very early in this game. We'll see whether he is going to opt in for his namesake. But right now he's on the bottom side of the map. And it is Pyosik with a bit of control in that top side. Meganar is almost in for casting. And that's why he's pretty happy about this whole situation, as Dudu going aggressive actually slices out of the way of the ulti very nicely.
His ult's coming back too. Casting needs to be careful.
Yeah, Wallop lands though, and there is the picking up of the house, or it would be if he was using the fun skin. There is the dominance like you were talking about, but he's using it on cooldown.
Yeah, I feel like the way Dudu has played this lane looks it looks kind of silly for killing his opponent, but in terms of how well he's been able to farm and put the pressure on Casting and deal with Casting's pressure himself, it's been really nice. As Casting, speaking of...
Yeah, speaking of which, he's having a bit of a rough one here as Pyosik is just able to Cataclysm, but the Flash is going to avoid the damage, and out goes the Gnar. Nice timing there as Gideon is in this bottom lane. When becomes lightning, flash out from Quantum as Teddy really wishes he had another Relentless Pursuit, but had just used it. So isn't able to get any kills, but they get the flash out of Quantum, and this bottom lane is an absolute mess.
Yeah, and I have to say, I mean, the numbers aside, obviously we're looking at a 550 gold lead versus a 1300 gold lead, but even if it was both 1300, I'd still favor the Lucian that has the lead over Renekton at this point in the game, and they got the flash out of Casting, but Dottom is just not getting the minions. You know, he's just not able to farm. He does escape there, right? They do not get an additional kill, but his bottom side of the map is in tatters, and because Pyosik shows there, Gideon's like, all right, well, that's what I thought. Now I have confirmation I can continue to pressure here incredibly aggressively. And this mid lane is also not going Closer's way.
Yeah, Roma having, once again, a very good time. I think that his re-debut against Faker looked pretty good in Incheon there. And now might actually be able to pick up a victory as well, as ultimately things didn't go so well for Hanjin. Closer, though, is looking to prove me wrong as the bear comes down from the sky and will stun the Aurora.
You just TP'd. That's half your health. He's got TP. He's going to come back full.
Yes, well.
Got him to trade the TP, though.
That's a Gnar that's actually going to land here from Casting. We'll get the wallop down as well, as I feel like the trades have been going really well for Casting, but he needs to last hit the creeps.
Yeah. I think that the way, like, Dudu's used his health bar incredibly well, and he's allowed these minions to come through a lot of the time, so he can actually use them to heal, and then Casting thinks he has kill pressure, then he doesn't quite have it, and it feels like Dudu's kind of been duping him. He's like, oh, you're hitting me and not the minions. I'm hitting the minions, and I have a lot of them now.
Well, now, once again, a possible dive angle here as Gideon has pitched a tent in this bottom lane.
And Pyosik's finally coming down. He has flash and ult. But, I mean, the damage has already been done.
Ooh, that auto attack has traveled a very long way, as Closer is not going to have his back interrupted. But is in decent standing right now. Was actually falling behind a little bit in farm, but as you can see, waves are crashing, and there is one minion between them.
This is not a comp for the bros that needs 3 grubs, right, to succeed. It doesn't need to be able to rush turrets down incredibly quickly. It needs to be able to kill people on early skirmishes and carry that into the mid game. Because Teddy is so massively ahead and this Gnar looks like it may never get off the ground here, I think that Hanjin and Brion are very happy with their bottom side focus, even though the Gnar is behind.
Oh, goodness me. Okay, well, there's the culling out onto Quantum, who just takes all the damage.
And now, Pyosik, it's really hard to defend here. He is going to stick around, but they're going to push him out of the jungle, or at least an attempt to. But look, Teddy's pushing the wave. Dottom can't get to the minions.
Yeah, Roma not going to be roaming anymore, is making it back towards this mid lane. We'll be able to clear out this wave as well. Like you were saying, things just looking pretty good for Hanjin Brion.
And now, like, we're looking at a Dragon here in 3 minutes, a Herald in 3 minutes. Bro get to control the one they go for, or if they want to just follow DNS on the map and deny them both by forcing a team fight. Because they have Annie, and Annie makes that so simple. The Gnar is a little bit of the trickier part, right? He needs to have his Gnar bar in the right spot if he's going to team fight with his team. He's 500 gold behind, but he's going to get a call cashed in here pretty soon, and that'll shore up a lot of that deficit. And, you know, we will see if Bro can execute on this lead, because that has always been the question, right? Like, the early games have never really been the main issue as Roamer.
Yeah, gonna get Cataclysm, and another flash is gonna get gained here by Pyosik. He is just kind of collecting them where he likes. Casting, though, will have his flash back up and available very, very soon, and they haven't really capitalized on that being down just yet. Really
valuable flash on the Annie, because sometimes flash tibbers is the best way to start a fight, especially when you have an enchanter support like Milio in your team comp. You're going to need something a little bit explosive oftentimes to get that initial burst through that Teddy needs to win the fight. So that's a big win. Doesn't mean that Annie is useless, but definitely a little bit more face-up how she's going to be playing in team fights.
Oh, yeah. Does have the upgraded lucidity, so is relatively mobile, but still It is going to be a difficult time, but I don't think they're going to need to be too worried about working out where to fight, because like you were saying, Rift Herald going to be an option as well as this Dragon that's coming up a little bit earlier. I think Double Dragon going to be something that the Bros are very interested in, especially when it's Hextech and Mountain to start us off.
Yeah, I think for Bro, what you want to do is figure out where DNS are trying to play through, and it's, I think, probably not going to be Dragon because they have no control over the bottom side whatsoever. And if you follow them to Herald and win that fight, then you can use the Herald to either just straight up get the mid turret, which is already down to 3 plates, but also like use that mid prio to get the second Dragon as well. Or if they want to take a risky Dragon fight, try to group and try to get Jukdom out of jail here. Call him Jukdom almost for a second.
Yeah.
Get him out of jail, then you just fight there and take the Dragon.
I just really think the bail is set too high, Wolf. I don't think you're really paying for that. I think he's in jail for quite some time in this game. Down 2.1K.
Yeah.
It's only stretched.
He just got his Kraken Slayer, and Teddy has been sitting on this BF sword for a little while.
Yeah. And when he made his way back with his Essence Reaver into just components, that was when Doctom's life really became a living hell, if it wasn't that already, as the tower is going to go down as well.
Brick.
First brick, 2.6K. Like, it's a big lead here at 14.5 minutes.
And DNS are going to try to challenge the Dragon, and Bro are like, yeah, I welcome the challenge, please.
Indeed.
Okay, well, now they're going to move at least the Lulu to the mid lane as they look for a pick on the Roamer.
Well, Roamer is actually going to take a lot of damage here as Closer thinking about going for it. Gets the pullback. Not quite enough to kill, but Roamer does need to be really careful.
Roamer has TP, so he might just want to back here and then join the Dragon. That's what he's going to look to do here, is they are trying to rush this down in the interim. A good call here for the Supers. TP also coming through from Doodoo. They're going to have the numbers at edge.
Getting the Renekton here is kind of huge, as he's finished off that quest as well. And so that means that the DNS Supers are going to be able to take this Dragon. It will be a Chemtech. But a team with Emilio, team with the Lulu, you're going to be pretty happy with having that extra healing and shielding power and stuff like that.
It looked like Bro had the call, right? They were like, okay, we're going to group, we're going to challenge this Dragon, but they skipped some steps as Closer.
Oh dear. He's going to get walloped. He's going to get gnawed. Let's see whether Casting does have enough follow-up damage as he kind of avoids all the buttons. Wants to find a little bit more here as he thinks he has the angle. Has to crush his way out of there. Roamer comes on over though. Oh no! The gameplay Tibbers button, and the Pyroblast will pick up the kill. Happy to tank up that turret as well as Tibbers will pull the wave. And that is a good kill for the Bros.
If they can get a punish here, Quantum going to scry. And we'll see the split backs here. Roamer did not complete his.
Well, Namgung is just going to walk up towards his top lane, gets a fire kick, and that is going to be all she wrote for that one.
Okay, well that ends up being a really nice setup there for the Bros. Kind of on Closer, just did not know the Gnar was there, and then it ended up being a huge opportunity for Roamer that he's absolutely going to take. The Herald will go over to Breon, so they still have the gold lead. It's still about the same at 2.6, and that's going to explode even further. As Closer just doesn't have information here, so walks forward as Casting has his Gnar set. So he gets the Gnar, the wallop, and forces the Rocket Belt early, and so much damage is done to this Aurora that's just TP'd back. He has to flash, and that makes the play here for Roamer so simple. He's got his stun prepped, drops the bear, and even though the house doesn't take out the Aurora, Roamer certainly will.
Yep, and there's another one. Good old statue here. As Casting's throwing that one around in this particular game. Fire kick going to go wide. But I think Teddy is just having a field day on this Lucian at the moment, sitting on the most awkward of Infinity Edge items. But that's all right. He'll be hitting 2 items very soon, and there's a cloth armor dagger on the other side.
Yeah, I think he's very happy to back soon. I think he's getting very close. But this game state makes me very nervous for Hanjin, because it's a game state we've seen many times before.
Yeah.
It makes me have pause. It makes me want to tell everyone that I think that they should be very pessimistic about the situation. They should hope it was a bigger lead. You know, 3,000 at 17 minutes, most teams would beg for that. But bro, I don't know. Duckdom?
Yeah, taking a fair bit of damage, but giving back a fair bit as well. But look at Namgung's healing. It's kind of ridiculous. Gideon misses the wind, becomes lightning as in goes Pyoshik, looks for the angle onto the Melio as the culling. Not doing too much of anything at all. And in this bottom lane, Doodoo is fighting against Casting, who does have his Trinity Force now completed against that Stride Breaker that's been done for a while on Doodoo. There's the Crush Gnar from Casting here. Gets a cute little wallop off, but Doodoo's got a lot of fury, and he's got his Dominus still. I don't think this is going to be a 1v1 that Casting's going to be winning anytime soon.
Chemtech is actually pretty crazy for DNS if they're able to get it, by the way. We're still quite a few dragons away from the soul, but it could be huge as Doodoo's going in here, has his ult.
Yeah, Pyoshik making his way down as well. He also has his ultimate back up again. and is considering a dive, but looks like Dudu called it off.
Frankly, this has been a pretty good game. I've been liking the choices both teams are making. However, Duckdom may need to flash.
Oh dear, there's an Audacious charge in. They do get the polymorph, and that is going to keep Duckdom's flash up.
Teddy wasn't close enough to follow up with the damage. There was a wave there, so the polymorph alone is enough. But now they can drop this Herald down with a wave coming. Actually, just going to crash it straight up here.
Yeah, I mean, the wave is going to be there relatively soon, as Teddy just able to escort Shelly in. Slurkle not going to do too much of anything, but this turret is on its last legs. Will be the second one for Hanjin, as they've moved up to a 3.3k gold advantage. It's just been slowly but surely the bros building this lead. And like you were saying, it does make us feel wary, but if they're actually able to snowball this and win, man, that is such like character development for Hanjin Brion.
The second dragon that DNS got, where Closer was able to push Roamer out, then they had that great timing there. Renekton was able to sneak the TP, stuff like that. That was really good play from DNS from behind. They actually were able to wrestle that dragon away. If they keep making plays like that, they can certainly chip away at this lead. But right now, it is definitely looking Hanjin favored, as Pyosik is not going to enjoy this.
No, certainly is not. He's almost just going to get ran down, and there it is. Casting just kills him.
I think it was a hyper proc that finishes him off, as Closer's also going to TP in here. They are going to be able to get this turret, but it's not going to be able to get anything back. And now he's on the wrong side of the map to defend mid.
Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, you certainly have to give something up because your jungler just died. And so Teddy, with some free time on this inner turret in mid lane, Dudu going to make his way over, but Hop is obviously going to be there. The flash is invested as well, so they do at least get something.
Has so much control, though, of the map on the bottom side where the dragon is spawning, so a lot more relevant than the top side. Is Renekton will TP for the flank here. Roamer greeting super hard.
Yeah, I think, oh my God! Doc, that is just a very dead Quantum. So he does go 1-for-1. Tibbers gets angry. And it does mean it's going to be a 4v4. No mid lane and no support. I do think that Hanjin have the inside track, though, and they are going to be able to take down this dragon.
I mean, the sacrifice wasn't necessary. At least Roamer's able to trade one back. But they had so much control that even though the mid laner dies, there's just no answer. Because Closer's got to clear the mid wave. He just TP'd to the top side. As we're going to watch this moment here where he gets the control word on Pyosik. Pyosik is like, I'm trying to play the game.
Yeah. Like the value that he gets as well. From that control ward instantly gives him a kill. That is some good warding. Yeah, Roamer was kind of caught with that great teleport from Dudu to take him down, but he also takes a Lulu with him.
I think we're going to need to see DNS play a little bit more like clean on sides right now. The teleport from Closer got them the turret, but didn't really get them anything else. And we saw the kill on the Pyosik, obviously, moments before. I think in team fights, if we can get to a more stable game, which I kind of feel like it's on Bro, whether that happens or not, is still good here for DNS, but a lot has to go wrong, and a lot has to go right for DNS. They have to continue to try to be proactive. The play we saw on that second dragon was fantastic, but they're now a dragon down here. They so desperately would love to have Chemtech Soul with this Renekton, which is their only gold lead at this moment in time. He went Stridebreaker, Sterix, the shields will do wonders if he has a few of those Chemtechs under his belt.
The problem is, I feel like if a Renekton is going to go in, most of the time your Ravenous, Ruthless
Predator, yeah.
Ruthless Predator. That is the one that's, your sort of ace in the hole, right, when you get a flank off, but it's against Emilio. And so, like, you just kind of go in, you're not actually able to pin anyone down, and then Illusion's just going to dash away from you, and as the game gets later and later, it feels like he's permanently dashing.
Sure.
And I don't know whether you can slice and dice enough in order to keep up with him and actually take him down when your CC means little to nothing at all.
Here's a scenario I can propose that might happen, like the Miracle for DNS or the Nightmare for Brion. They lose one team fight, Duckdom gets a shutdown or two, okay?
Yeah.
And he is close to item parity with Teddy. And then how do you lock down this Yunara with this comp? You only have Annie, really. Like, this Yunara is so difficult to catch, so difficult to kill, that Duckdom can just carry every team fight if he can front to back. They just have to get to that stable phase where Duckdom can actually do the damage. He got to 2 items. If he can get to 3, and Bro have not really like taken an inhibitor outright, if they haven't actually gotten the game basically completely on lock, I kind of feel like it's still playable, even though the Emilio could stop the Renekton. Obviously, he can just cleanse Teddy there. If Teddy dies for any reason, or if they are able to clean up a fight because someone overextends, or the jungler is dead, or fighting for a dragon, DNS could slide their way back into this through that late game Yunara. And they have a lot of bursts to follow up onto Teddy, right? Between the Renekton and the Aurora damage as well, the Wild Growth with Jarvan. There's a lot of CC. There's a lot of tools here to catch Teddy. Not as many for Duckers, right? So
yeah,
I'm trying to make up a fable. Like, I'm trying to tell the legend of what could happen. Probably won't happen, but maybe could happen.
I think we do need either a QSS or a Mikhails to come in at some point, though, because otherwise the Tibbers value is just always going to be there, and Doctarm is going to really struggle to be in a good position.
Quantum will get there. He'll get the Mikhails.
Yeah, it should come in, but we do need that to happen sooner rather than later. As a minute and a half left on this Dragon. We're still fighting around the area, as we just like that, wanting to get the setup down. As Fire Kick onto Dudu.
I don't think this is the fight for DNS. I don't think this Dragon necessarily is the one. They got that one.
Also,
Hemtech,
definitely not the not Dragon, because it's not even up for another minute.
But I don't think they should try to fight for this. Instead, trying to look for picks is a better play. There's the Mikhails, like you mentioned. He was very close to it when you were talking about it. And now, like, you don't want to fight. You got that really important Hextech Dragon. That play from closer in the mid lane, we keep going back to it, but it pushed Roamer away. They were able to get that Dragon with a TP flank. There was no fight, but they got the Dragon. Sure, they lost the Herald, they lost their turret, and they've been behind on gold this whole time, but pick your battles correctly, and it's not now. It's not this one. I mean, look at the vision that Hanj and Brionne have right now. It's definitely not this one. I think for DNS, if you see an overextending Annie, Gnar pushes up too far, maybe collapse on that. And Pyosik needs to be ready to catch those opportunities, but otherwise, sit back and farm. He's got an Executioner's Calling as his third item here.
Yeah, so just looking for Mortal Reminder before anything else. Obviously, against Melio, you are going to get a fair bit of value. So opting in for that one. The ability to go for just a snap Baron call as soon as they get onto the Dragon could be something that DNS can look towards. Right now, I mean, Teddy is taking so much control, and with these energized procs coming out from this rapid-fire cannon that he's put together, look at the damage.
They need to be ready to punish those dashes. Oh, Gideon's going in.
He goes in. They find the bear as well, as Pyosik is just dead before the fight even starts, and Casting finds a gorgeous ult in the backline. The flash forward from Roamer is going to be the end of Closer, and the inner turret's likely to go down. The Dragon conversation is over, and maybe it's Baron time for Hanj and Brionne.
Yeah, I think they absolutely should just go straight to it here. No enemy jungler. It's a freebie. Way more value than the Dragon. As you can see, Dudu and Duckdom are like, maybe we can get a Dragon in return. On the other side, they are seen, by the way, on that ward. Roamer could, in theory, TP over. In fact, Casting has already made that choice, and this is not even going to be a Dragon in exchange. No. Gideon can smite this, and then they can rotate over and get both objectives. And Duckdom in that fight, like, he wasn't even there. So going all the way back to the beginning of this, Casting has his Narbar set, they go on to Pyosik. Duckdom has to kite upwards here, and he can't offer damage back when this extremely aggressive play comes through from Casting. Like, Duckdom is doing no damage here because he cannot get access. He was too far forward, and Pyosik was the initial target, but he was kind of collateral damage. He had to back away, couldn't do anything there. I mean, if Teddy can just dash forward for free and take half of Duckdom's health bar the whole game, then that is just going to be the end of DNS in this first one.
And that is kind of what it's looking like here, Wolf, as the gold lead is stretched to 7.2k. And the Bros now with Soul Point almost, as Gideon is going to finish off that Dragon as we speak. And they are looking to take down more of these turrets as well. As in the bottom lane, it is Casting just dealing with that, as his couple of items already complete. And Teddy is now looking to try and get these siege minions in. Great fire kick there from Namgung to deny Pyosik any sort of engage, as Teddy just wipes out Quantum with the help of a bear, and Pyosik just cannot find a way in. Dudu on a flank angle, but that is just not something that they can feasibly do. Casting's just going to push him away. And Hanj and Brionne can do no wrong in this game.
No, they're playing so well right now. And Dudu, I mean, he wanted to make a play here, but now he's lost half his health. Casting's got his Gnar ready. He says, no blast code for you.
Dudu does at least collect a red buff, but maybe he was collecting it for Casting. As he does move away from the Mega Cone, that is going to disengage Dudu from the situation, and at least he does make his way out with his life. The problem is, it's still a 4 versus 5. There are still, like, minions cascading towards the DNS base.
Yeah, I mean, the mid inhibitor is already down. Super minions are coming through. They're going to look for the second inhibitor turret, and I just don't think defending this inhibitor is on the cards.
Nope.
I mean, with respawning members here, DNS are ready to stop their Nexus from going down, but The damage is immense. Like, this is a 3,500 Baron power play with a team that was already so massively ahead. I mean, they almost have a 10,000 gold lead now. And this fire kick denies Pyosik any entry. Poser takes a ton of damage. Quantum just dies. Romer wastes Tibbers, and they still just don't care.
Yep. I mean, he threw it to make sure that they lock down the 1 kill.
Yeah.
And then with a 5 versus 4, the siege becomes so much easier. And Lulu is very important to this composition. Look at this graph, by the way.
Yeah.
Very bro with how slowly it was moving up, but they did not falter at all. It was just increments of getting a little bit further ahead. And that means not a lot of whoopsies, not a lot of putting your feet in the wrong direction, things like this. And these mid-game mishaps that Hanj and Brion have kind of fallen for in the past, this has just been slow and
Teddy,
steady wins the race.
He has a whole extra rapid fire cannon, and he's got an extra pickaxe even as well. I didn't even see they just put that together.
Did he buy like an outright Mortal Reminder?
Yeah.
They have.
Like, he has so much money. Gojek's going to try for this.
There is the Wild Growth combo with the Cataclysm, and it did, I think it did damage, and then Melio. So don't trust that it looks like nothing happened, because something did happen, but then they mitigated it entirely.
Yeah, Teddy is so big that you can't actually, if you go into melee range with him, he likes that now. He actually prefers it that way.
Especially when he does have Nam going alongside him, as there's a flag and drag towards Gideon. He does have Crescent Guard, is going to use it there as Pyosik able to get out with the help of the Mikhails, but I don't think he's doing anything else here in this game as Closer takes a boomerang to the face, casting still at 50% health, finds himself the hyper proc, and so does Teddy find a bit of extra damage as well. That means Closer's back to the base. Another inhibitor is going to go down, and I think the bro suffocation is going to end here with DNS's Nexus going down. I just don't see them having much of an opportunity. There is no Baron left, but there are super minions now moving towards this base. And only 1 Nexus turret between the bros and a very clean Game 1 win.
Yeah. They're going to back away here as Casting's running out of Gnar. Dudu goes in for some reason.
There's the flash in, and they do manage to get the Melio as Teddy is dashing around this back line. There is a GA on this Renekton. That does buy a lot of space for them, but Teddy, he's got the light slinger. He's able to take down the Crocodile as Dr. Arm is on the wrong side of the fight. One more time, Koshik goes in, finds a Cataclysm, but also, finds going up rather than taking anyone down. And this last Nexus turret will fall. They are already incredibly in the hole as far as gold is concerned, and the pros are going to take them down with a 14k gold lead. From start to finish, it was just more winning for Hanj and Brion.
But that one play from Closer where he pushed Romer away and they got a dragon, that was it. That was all they had this whole game. Never a gold lead, never any control, and Duckdown was just waiting to get an item that he was never going to have to hopefully then be able to carry the game, and it just was never going to happen as Casting did do a lot of damage.
나 내가 풀려. 형이 형 나 궁 없고.
내내 풀탑 된다. 아 맞아. 앞부터.
은행이 노플이야.
야 유나라 노플이야.
아.
유나라 봐줘.
레드부터 볼게. 아니야. 이겼어.
유나라 봐줘. 유나라 노플.
아. 내려볼게 얘들아.
아 보자.
손 대면 이렇게 돼. 볼게.
끝내자.
나 잡고 싶은데.
잡아.
애매. 나 CS 먹어야 돼. 먹어. 고마워. 잘 먹어.
박터.
아.